One then.
Hare Krishna. Welcome back everyone after a nice little break over the weekend. And last week of the Bhagavad Gita course, well, we're going to extend a little bit into Monday next week because Tuesday is when I fly out. And just put the mic on.
Then extend to Monday?
So you mean how many?
Extended it to Monday next week. So it's basically there's going to be sessions, 5 sessions remaining. Tuesday.
Il reste plus que 5
Thursday,
sessions.
Friday, Saturday, and Monday.
Monday Food for Life.
And it's last session anyway, but you get the report. What to do in flying out on Tuesday. Let's see how we get on. Okay, let's do Mangalacharana together.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Satchurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Chachakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachacha Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai.
So then as we conclude the Bhakti section of Bhagavad Gita,
Donc on vient de finir la section du Bhakti Yoga de la Bhagavad Gita.
The acronym for chapter 12, as you can
Donc l'acronyme du dernier chapitre, chapitre 12, c'était
God, yes.
Dieu, God.
Because we are finishing the devotional practice to God like that. And then the individual aspects of God is the acronym component part. G stands for Godhead.
G c'était pour Godhead.
Why Godhead?
Pourquoi Godhead? Parce que Prabhupada voulait rendre clair que Dieu est une personne et qu'il a une tête. C'est pas juste une énergie dans le ciel. Il est aussi à la tête de toutes les énergies divines.
They came, I said, well, do you hear prayer? Does your Lord hear prayers? Does Jehovah hear prayers? Yes, of course he hears.
C'est comme mon histoire avec quand les témoins de Jéhovah ils sont venus chez moi et je leur ai demandé est-ce que vous priez? Ils m'ont dit oui et dit ok mais est-ce que Dieu entend les prières? Il dit oui, bon alors il doit avoir des oreilles. Donc il ne doit pas avoir des oreilles juste qui flottent, les oreilles sont attachées à une tête.
When they came to visit me in London, like that. So, yes, clearly Prabhupada says Krishna is the Godhead, Supreme Personality of God. There stands for Godhead. And then we know in this section, Krishna gave lots of options to Arjuna. He said, okay, if you can't,
on a vu aussi dans ce chapitre que Krishna a donné beaucoup d'options à Arjuna. Si tu ne peux pas juste mettre ton mental sur moi en union, alors tu peux suivre les principes régulateurs du service de dévotion qui donne un processus de purification pour pouvoir ensuite focaliser ton mental sur moi. Mais si tu ne peux toujours pas faire ça, offre-moi ton travail. Si tu ne peux pas, alors fais un travail de charité offre en charité dans la société.
Because oftentimes people can't get to the highest goal immediately.
La plupart du temps, les gens ne peuvent pas aller au plus haut,
And then,
au but de quelque chose directement. Il y a des marches.
devotee's disposition. What
Et
does that mean?
Dernière lettre, c'était à propos de la disposition des dévots. Ce qui signifie
That's what you can expect from devotees.
Yes, what are your character traits
quels sont les traits de caractère d'un dévot.
What should we expect for the devotee, a highest devotee?
Quelles sont les caractéristiques d'un dévot?
Able to
26 qualities.
26 qualities,
Les 26 qualités de Vaishnava.
Their character traits.
Quels sont, comment ils agissent, comment ils interagissent, comment ils parlent, comment ils... Donc Krishna explique cela à Arjuna pour qu'on puisse être inspiré et aussi les reconnaître.
Then we left it off with the homework that you had.
On avait un devoir.
If you could write a note to your younger self, what would you say in
Si vous pouviez écrire un mot à votre jeune moi, à vous quand vous étiez jeune, que diriez-vous en 3 mots?
Yes, Prabhu.
Become a Krishna.
You said become a Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean you're going to become Krishna himself? The Lord himself?
But I needed to take first reverse.
Okay. Devotee of Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Become devotee of Krishna. Fine, you can take 4 words, no problem. Yes.
Make less mistakes.
Make less mistakes.
No.
Make better choices.
You cannot really
Better choices. Okay.
They're my words.
Yeah.
You can say something else if you like.
Better choices. Okay. Make less mistakes. Okay. Well, we are prone to make mistakes, which
Well,
is
you
our
learn a
natural
lot by
condition.
mistake.
You also learn a lot by looking and hearing.
Yes. Sure. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay.
Anyone else?
Well,
Yes, Nitya.
It's going to be alright. It might be too much word, no?
not 3 words.
It'll be alright.
It'll be alright. Yeah.
It'll be alright. It'll, because that's the abbreviated word. It'll be alright. Everything will be fine.
Yes.
And that's one disposition we could have, isn't it? That when we are younger, we've got so many emotions, we have so many things to look forward to. But then, and sometimes anxiety because, oh, this will happen, and then you can say to your previous self, it'll be alright.
Yes.
So this is a note from you, this adult, to your younger self back in the youth. So it's quite telling, you see, when we are thinking about these things, on a deeper level, you are saying, yes, you are anxious, but actually life is alright.
Yes.
You went through many peaks and troughs, life is alright. And okay, for Simon Prabhu, become a devotee. Maybe he's thinking, maybe I came into this path a little bit late. Become a devotee. To my younger self, maybe if I was younger, I could have done this quicker, sooner, like that. Maybe that's a deeper meaning behind that. Different ways of thinking about it. And for Vijay Prabhu, maybe he's thinking, well, I've made lots of mistakes in my life, and now I'm in a place where actually I'm in the right place. Doesn't matter if I make mistakes, but that's okay, because devotees are merciful like that. Anyone else want to have a go? All is well. All is well. All is well, yes. All is well. It's similar to be alright. All is well, yes. Welcome, Monsieur. Nice to meet you for joining us. Krishna, so yeah, all is well. All is alright. Like that, I can say. Welcome. joining us for the Gita Life course?
I'm not registered.
T'as
Or
réfléchi?
I can come like this.
I mean, we are at chapter, which was the last section of the Gita course. This is the last week.
Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome to join. No problem.
Okay, fine. Welcome, then I join.
Please.
Do you remember last year he was also in the course at the beginning? He had long hair then. And we were there for the beginning, weren't
The Veda course?
And then be a monk thing last year.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, well, sorry, I don't remember his
No problem.
Long hair, long hair.
It's okay, it's
He
okay.
was incognito.
What's your name again?
Yeah, Shankara.
Shankara. Shankara Prabhu, nice to meet you. My name is Sankirtan Priya. Welcome to the Gita Life course.
Thank you.
And so we have a little homework that we had. So you can think about this whilst others are talking about that, and maybe you can also think about this. Yeah? This question you can ask yourself. And so we were.
Marie, she knows.
Yeah. So there, Prabhu said, "All is well." Anyone else?
I just wrote, believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I wrote, don't worry, but believe in yourself.
So do not worry or don't worry. Yes. Okay. Believe in yourself. So yes, like on a deeper meaning, that means okay. Maybe sometimes in life you felt you didn't have enough faith in your own abilities, and suddenly now you're saying, yeah, just have faith in your own abilities. Believe in yourself. There is a higher power that's actually supporting our journey, and so believe in yourself as well as believing, according you to that higher power like that. Okay, very nice. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Just be patient.
Just
be patient.
Just be patient. Yes, just be patient. Sometimes we become eager in our services, we become eager in our life, we become eager in wanting to produce so many things, and when the results don't happen, we feel a little bit depressed. Hey, why is this not working? Why is it not happening? When is it going to happen? If we just do it with patience and some endurance, then things actually work out. Very nice, okay. Anyone else want to add?
I just wanted to say that I didn't read it properly because I was doing this sort of like in a rush. So it's actually writing a note to your younger self. I thought it was writing a note when you are your younger self.
No, to your younger self.
Yeah.
That's why I said
I didn't read it properly.
From here back to your younger self.
Yeah,
So if you were young
exactly.
again, if you had to give your younger self some advice,
I would have been a bit softer than my younger self.
so like that. Okay, thank you for
I
sharing.
have a couple of questions from the last session.
Okay.
And try to keep it short. So at a certain point we're in the Bhagavad Gita, 12.1, the purport summary.
Donc là, on a vu différentes choses que les gens ont dit
Transcendentalists are broadly divided into
par rapport à qu'est-ce qu'ils diraient à leur
personalists, worship and serve the personal form of Krishna.
plus jeune
And you have
soi.
the impersonalists. And after that you have Bhakti
Maintenant, il y a
Yoga,
Bijay qui a des
service.
questions par rapport à la session.
It's described as the highest
passée.
and most direct method to realize the absolute truth and associate with God. Are they not the same, personalists and Bhakti Yoga? What's the difference between those two points?
Yeah, so remember we went through impersonalists, the Brahmavadis, Mayavadis, and personalists are those who believe that there's a form, but not necessarily believe Krishna is the form.
Okay.
Yeah? You get it?
Yeah.
If they believe that there is a supreme God, then they may even consider Krishna as one of the demigods, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are saying that actually there is a clear distinction between Bhagwan, Paramatma, and Brahman. Different realization.
Yeah, that's clear. And I had another one here. That's the Bhagavad Gita 12.2 purport summary. The first point, Krishna answers Arjuna by stating that one who worships his personal form with faith and devotion is the most perfect yogi. Are Vaishnavas yogis?
Yeah, because we do Bhakti Yoga.
Okay. That was
Those who do any type of yoga are yogis.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we, Shankara Prabhu, we're using two books. One is the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and one is the compendium of Bhagavad Gita, which is the Gita Life book. It's in French as well as in English.
Okay. This is
I
the one.
understand.
This is the one we just covered, and we're going to move on to
Chapter 13, which is the next section of the Gita Life course. The last 6 chapters of Gita Life. And this is a book by His Holiness Jayakaranda Venkateshwara. You know him?
Yeah, I know. I'm following him, but I never see
Wonderful. So he's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
So he'll be here. And so, that's books written in acronym form. So chapter 13 In Bhagavad Gita, it is entitled Nature and
Donc le
Yoga
chapitre
and
13,
Consciousness. So now we're
le
entering
titre c'est la nature, le bénéficiaire et la conscience.
battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Vous vous rappelez de cette,
Bhagavad Gita was spoken.
cette image du champ
And
de
we
bataille de
we
Kurukshetra.
finished the first 12 chapters.
Donc on a fini la deuxième partie de Bhagavad Gita qui était le Bhakti Yoga.
We've discussed the success of yoga.
Donc
Yoga
on a
of
fait les
success,
6
karma
premières
yoga.
parties qui étaient
Discussed the
Karma Yoga.
of love.
Et puis après on a fait
Now
Bhakti
we're
Yoga.
entering
Et maintenant on rentre
yoga
dans
of wisdom.
le yoga, Jnana Yoga, le yoga de la sagesse.
And this is Jnana Yoga. In this section, we're going to be hearing a lot about Sankhya Yoga.
Dans ce chapitre, on va apprendre beaucoup de choses sur le Sankhya Yoga,
Lord Kapila in Canto 3.
ce qui est aussi élaboré plus dans le Srimad Bhagavatam par Kapila.
Here, lot of the information, lot of the knowledge that Krishna has given to Arjuna all this time is repeated. When using a different analogy, different analysis.
Toute la connaissance qui a été donnée par Krishna Arjuna va être répétée, mais d'une façon différente. Donc il y a 3 façons d'approcher le Bhagavad Gita à travers karma, bhakti et jnana. Donc là maintenant, on va voir ces derniers chapitres. Donc là, Krishna va donner sa sagesse, une sagesse d'une façon différente. Quand on rencontre des gens, qui ont des tendances et qui ont une nature différente. Et là, ça va être une présentation un peu plus scientifique, plus logique, plus rationnelle.
So Krishna has given us the essence, which is to live, love, how to live and love in the middle 6 chapters. However, the wisdom that Krishna is now going to give us in the final 6
Krishna nous a donné l'essence qui est de vivre par amour au milieu des 6 chapitres du milieu. Cependant, la sagesse que Krishna va maintenant nous donner dans les 6 derniers chapitres va nous aider dans notre voyage à comment naviguer à travers le monde.
Krishna is going to talk about lower natures, our higher natures. He's going to give us more knowledge about understanding ourselves, understanding the world around us, and helps us to understand how to navigate in a journey by achieving love for Krishna. That is the love
du style de vie,
of God in a very, very powerful way.
Des modes de la nature,
So I'm referring to my notes also,
du monde dans lequel on vit en ce moment.
Covering all aspects of our lesson today. So, the first W in the acronym.
Donc dans l'acronyme qui est WISE, le W, ou sagesse en français, donc le W, ça représente en français des sages, une question sage.
The theme of the chapter and the individual component parts give us the content.
Des questions sages. Donc on répète que l'acronyme nous donne le thème et chaque lettre de l'acronyme nous donne le contenu du chapitre. Donc le I, ça va être les éléments de la connaissance. Le S, ça va être l'âme et l'âme suprême. Et le E, c'est le bénéficiaire.
So in the beginning, we know that Arjuna asks Krishna about 6 different things. Yeah? He asks about 6 different concepts which are very important for us to understand clearly.
Donc au début, Arjuna il demande à Krishna 6 choses différentes. Il pose des questions sur 6 concepts différents qu'il est important que nous comprenions clairement. On va maintenant en parler.
So, wise questions, Arjuna says, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Shatram
Verset 1.
Jnanamevacha Ekadveditam Ichami Jnanam Neyam Katcha Keshava. So,
Arjuna
different
dit,
things are asked here. Somebody like to read?
ô mon cher maître, j'aimerais savoir ce que sont la prakriti, la nature, le purusha, le bénéficiaire, le champ et le connaissant du champ, le savoir et l'objet du savoir.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Nice and clear. Very nice. So, here Arjuna is asking
Donc ici, Arjuna demande 6 choses.
about Prakriti
1.
or nature,
Prakriti, la nature.
2. About
2.
Purusha or the
Purusha,
enjoyer,
le bénéficiaire.
3. The field
3. Kshetra,
and the
le
knower of
champ.
the field
Kshetragya, le connaissant
and the object of the knowledge. These are the 6
le connaissant du
parts
champ.
that Arjuna asks in the
Gyanam,
very first
la
verse.
connaissance.
So if you understand these 6
Gyeya,
things,
l'objet de la connaissance.
you understand the entirety of the
Gyeya.
reality. What is real?
Donc
what
si
is
vous connaissez
reality.
ces 6 choses, vous connaissez vous avez la connaissance de la réalité.
Repetition. Remember, previously I said, this knowledge is not linear.
Vous vous rappelez, j'ai dit, cette connaissance, elle n'est pas linéaire, cette connaissance. C'est pas que vous apprenez quelque chose de façon par cœur à l'école, et ensuite vous recevez un diplôme, et puis après vous allez plus haut. C'est une connaissance cyclique qui est répétée jusqu'à ce qu'on arrive à une essence, jusqu'à ce qu'on arrive à une réalisation.
The knowledge itself. So that's why repetition is the mother of repetition is the mother of memory. If you want to remember something, you keep on repeating itself, especially like shlokas.
La répétition est la mère de la connaissance.
And it will stick to your mind. Repetition is the mother of memory. And so, here we are. This is called the puzzle of life. Krishna presents the same knowledge in a different way, just like life is like a
Donc ça
puzzle.
s'appelle le puzzle de la vie. La vie est comme un puzzle, et lorsque nous avons ces 6 pièces, alors l'image derrière la réalité de notre vie redevient claire. Donc déjà, c'est Prakriti, la nature. Et ça, c'est le désir de l'âme de vouloir profiter, de vouloir exploiter la matière. Et du coup, ça le capture, ça l'empêtre dans le monde matériel.
And this energy of the Lord is not just the world around us, but actually the soul is also considered the energy of God, which is the Tatashta Shakti.
Donc Prakriti, c'est l'énergie de Krishna, mais aussi l'âme individuelle, c'est l'énergie marginale. Mais vu que l'âme veut exploiter l'énergie inférieure, l'énergie matérielle.
So the first thing Krishna explains is that material nature, what is the material nature and who is the material
Donc la
nature.
première chose que Krishna explique, c'est qu'est-ce que l'énergie matérielle. La deuxième chose dont Krishna parle, c'est Purusha. Et qui est le Purusha, le vrai Purusha? Le véritable bénéficiaire de tout, c'est le Seigneur suprême, c'est Krishna.
If we keep that in the mind, then although he is the enjoyer,
si on garde ça à l'esprit,
we are the enjoyer, he is the enjoyer. However, when we are serving him, our ability to enjoy more is even more experience than the enjoyer.
qu'il est le bénéficiaire suprême et que nous on est ses servants, automatiquement on va agir d'une certaine façon et on pourra vraiment en tirer un bénéfice et être heureux.
No, that's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Purusha and Purusha avatars are
Avatars enjoying.
No, avatar means the expansions, the incarnations.
Incarnations enjoying.
Purusha avatars is expansion in the spiritual world, but they also enjoy because of they have the soul serving them. So Vishnu at work and Krishna at home. Purusha, they enjoy. The actual enjoy is the Supreme Lord, though the conditioned soul tries to take this position.
Donc celui qui peut vraiment bénéficier de la prakriti, hein, qui peut tirer quelque chose de la prakriti, c'est le Purusha, c'est pas nous. Nous on peut avoir du plaisir en servant le Purusha. Donc en fait, l'âme individuelle essaie de prendre la position du Purusha, et c'est ça le problème.
When we don't have anxiety in any place, then you're naturally just happy. When you don't have any worries, any anxiousness, anything to bother you, then naturally you're happy. Isn't it? This means that when we create that feeling, even here in the material world, we can create Vaikuntha even here. Because our anxiousness is removed.
Et quand on est dans notre position et qu'on ne veut pas exploiter l'énergie inférieure et qu'on sert le Purusha, du coup on devient sans souci, sans peur, sans frustration. Ensuite, c'est Kshetra, le champ d'activité. De quel élément est fait le corps? Donc le corps et les sens sont considérés comme le champ d'activité.
The body is one that we use the body to do activity. Right? That is the field of our activity. So, the field, the senses of the body is considered to be like the field. Why? Because in a field, you plant certain seeds, then
dans un champ, on plante certaines graines.
From the ground, because what you planted.
Pareillement, dans ce corps est comme un champ. Et les activités que nous faisons vont déterminer notre futur. Donc, par exemple, les pensées, les activités qu'on plante, ça va donner des fruits et qu'on va devoir récolter en fait.
That's why it's known as a field.
Si on plante des bonnes plantes, des bons fruits, si on plante des mauvaises plantes, des mauvaises. Ensuite, Kshetragya. Vous connaissez ce mot Gya, signifie connaître. Donc celui qui connaît le champ. Donc, il y a l'âme qui connaît le corps individuel et l'âme suprême qui connaît tous les corps, parce qu'il est dans chaque corps. L'âme, il connaît son corps, son propre corps, mais l'âme suprême connaît tous les corps de chaque entité vivante.
What do we mean by knower?
Knower, you know your own body. Yeah, you are the driver of the body. So just like the driver of a car, you will know the car. That this is my car. I'm going to sit in this car and I'm going to drive. Because you have the key, you have everything. So you know your particular car.
The knower is like more the proprietor.
The proprietor, which is the soul. So in this body, you have a soul, who is the proprietor. But in that body also, somebody who accompanies you everywhere all the time is the super soul. But he knows all the bodies. He's a bit of a busybody. He knows all the bodies. So he likes to know because he wants to know where all his children are. He's created this material world as a big park, a big Disneyland, and he wants to know where everywhere all the Mickey Mouses and Minnie Mouses are, and the Donald Ducks, and the Goofies, and so on. He wants to know where everybody is, what they're doing, how they're doing, are they getting well on with each other, are they playing nicely, ultimately, are they saying, Daddy, Daddy, I want to come home. And that's when it's like, okay, let's go. Oh, you're dirty, let's wash you up. And then you can sit in a nice car, in the chariot to go back home. Like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Just no, I didn't understand well what I didn't do.
In that case, they're referring to souls and super soul as the knower.
So that combines the knower, because there's two parts of the knower, there's the individual knower and the overall knower. And we have jnana.
En plus, il y a Jnanam. Ça, c'est le processus de la connaissance. Comment avoir la connaissance. Ça, c'est des termes techniques. Ceux qui sont intellectuels et scientifiques, ils aiment ces termes intellectuels et techniques.
The character and the behavior that makes one wise. How does it work? How does the element of jnana work? Means knowledge, it also means the process of knowledge. Krishna says what is knowledge and how you can acquire in a deep way, not just in an intellectual way. So not only from an intelligent perspective, but remember it goes into from IQ into EQ into SQ. Like it goes deeper within your psychology.
Sorry, again. Remember before I mentioned those three processes, is that then the first? This is the process of knowledge, you know?
Avideya is the process.
Yeah.
That's what we will get to. Yes. And then finally, Nayam, which is the object of knowledge.
Qui est l'objet de la connaissance.
So, like we've been discussing in our Saturday Chaitanya Charitamrita class, there is a subject and there is the object.
Donc il y a un sujet et un objet.
L'objet
doit connaître en premier avant de savoir quels sont les traits caractéristiques du sujet, de l'objet.
What is that object of knowledge? What should we be actually understanding about the whole process of knowledge? Who should be our goal for knowledge? Yeah, like that. The soul and super soul is ultimately to be realized.
Donc c'est l'âme qui doit être l'objet de la connaissance. L'âme est l'âme suprême.
The knowledge, where will it take me? What's my purpose of knowing this knowledge? This is also important to know. Why am I learning this? What's the point? Because ultimately the whole point is how to go back.
Le but de pourquoi connaître cette connaissance. Puis ultimement, le but est de revenir à Krishna.
So the process of learning, same set of concepts as we've defined before.
Donc le processus d'apprentissage.
Studied repeatedly, like I said before, from different perspectives, different angles, so that we can get a complete view of the knowledge. Gradually going deeper, finding the essence. And the path isn't a straight line, it's a spiral.
Donc aller voir les choses sous des angles différents, trouver l'essence, aller progressivement plus en profondeur. Là, il y a une citation, le chemin n'est pas une ligne droite, c'est une spirale, on revient sans cesse à ce qu'on croyait comprendre et on découvre des vérités plus profondes. Ça, c'est la clé de la Bhagavad Gita. Quand vous allez la lire encore et encore, et puis vous allez découvrir des choses encore. Même un livre mondain, si vous les relisez, vous allez redécouvrir, vous allez découvrir des choses que vous ne saviez pas. Parce que le mental, il a la tendance de juste prendre les choses selon notre état d'esprit, selon notre conscience. Vous n'allez pas aller au supermarché et acheter tout ce qu'il y a là-bas. Vous allez là-bas pour acheter ce dont vous avez besoin,
you get what you need at that moment in
ce
time.
que vous avez besoin à ce moment précis.
You read again, more purification has happened.
Donc
then
quand
you
vous
go
lisez
to
la
the next
Bhagavad
part.
Gita ou
Get some
un
more
livre
knowledge.
sacré, vous allez prendre ce que vous avez besoin à ce
So
moment
that's
précis.
why the path isn't always the same. It might be the same process, but the knowledge acquired is very different. That's why we come to the spiral like this. Okay?
I wanted to know who said that.
Who said it? Yes, it's unknown.
Unknown.
Krishna Swami says unknown. But at least we know
Very
this.
beautiful quote.
Yeah. It works really well. And that's why Krishna Swami has also created this book called In Essence. It's also available here. It's a very thin book. And if you want to read that, it allows you to explore some of the big questions that people are asking, especially around vision of the world and knowledge and so on like that. Through inquiry, identity, relationship, this is what we talked about even previously. I won't label the point on this. Basically what this is saying that we are the soul, not the body, we are servants of Krishna, and we have a connection with Him, and we have an intimate exchange of love with Krishna, which is our relationship. And then we come to the
Donc on fait une enquête, on se pose des questions, on arrive à une compréhension de qui nous sommes, on développe une relation, on suit un processus.
Arjuna asked some wise questions because we covered the aspects of that. Now, what Krishna does is he explains
les éléments de la connaissance.
what the individual aspects, the items of knowledge stands for, which is the Dhyanam part. Of the 6 questions, now he's tackling Dhyanam. Yeah? That part of the knowledge. So then, in verses 8
Dans le
to
verset
12,
8
he lists for
8
long
à 12, on va voir une liste de qu'est-ce que
all these items are items of knowledge that should be within an individual and the maximum capacity.
On va voir les éléments de la connaissance maintenant cités par Krishna.
The first item there is humility.
Le premier, c'est l'humilité.
That means humility is something that we need to cultivate.
L'humilité, c'est quelque chose qu'on doit cultiver.
Some devotees are generally very humble. They might have a lot of, they might have achieved a lot of things, but they are not puffed up to say, look, I have achieved a lot of things, give me lots of respect. But they come in and say, how can I serve? How can I do? So they do menial tasks, they do many things. This shows their humility, and they're happy to impart the knowledge to others, because that also is one of the signs of humility, isn't it? What other signs of humility can we do? What are the other signs of humility in a person would you see? Apart from sharing the knowledge, apart from being courteous and humble and not puffed up by their achievements in life?
Yeah, they never acknowledge their achievements.
Yeah, they don't want to be glorified about their achievements. They don't feel like, okay, they're glorified. They always sort of try and deflect the glorification to their superiors, or it was my teacher, or it was my mother, or whoever, you know, as long as it's deflected from them. That's another way of seeing somebody's humility. Yeah?
They think others are better.
Yeah, their own psychology is that actually no, that other person is far more superior. Maybe I can learn from them. Rather than in the material
Quels sont
world,
les points de
when
l'humilité?
they see someone being better, you become envious or
On
jealous.
pense, celui qui a la psychologie de l'humilité, il pense que les autres sont mieux.
They all like to
Les
glorify the others.
gens ont envie de les
And
glorifier.
they're happy to accept their own drawbacks.
Et ils sont
Meaning
prêts
they say,
à
how can I
accepter
change? How can I
leurs
learn? How
propres
can I change?
fautes et
How can I
leurs
That's
propres
a real
défauts.
sign of humility. Ultimately, humility comes from knowing the fact that actually I'm not the controller, I'm not the body.
En fait,
I'm the
ultimement,
part and parcel of the
l'humilité
Supreme
vient
Lord.
du fait
Here
que
there, Krishna and Balaram, this wonderful photo.
je ne suis pas le
With the
contrôleur.
cows. And so like that, when we pose our love for them, that's real sign of humility, actually. And like that, Krishna is saying knowledge is not information, rather knowledge, a knowledgeable person is one who actually lives in a different way, who has realized and implemented or implanted the knowledge within a deeper space in their consciousness. So knowledge is not just information.
La connaissance, c'est pas juste de l'information. C'est quelque chose sur lequel on médite et ensuite qu'on réalise et ensuite dont on fait l'expérience. Quand vous avez une expérience pratique, vous n'avez pas besoin de connaître toutes les composantes de cette connaissance, mais ça fait partie de vous. Et ainsi vous connaîtrez cette connaissance naturellement.
Then you actually get the realization and become knowledgeable. So it's the same point made in the last chapter, in chapter 12, but in a slightly different way. Krishna is saying we need to follow the principles listed in this text and become knowledgeable. Knowledge is a process and it's not a process of studying. It's a process of living in a
Krishna dit que nous devons suivre les principes énumérés dans ce texte et devenir bien informés.
Humility or pridelessness are the first two qualities.
Donc l'humilité et l'absence d'orgueil sont les deux premières qualités et sont très très importantes.
Non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master.
Donc l'humilité, la modestie, la non-violence, la tolérance, la simplicité et l'acceptation d'un maître spirituel. Dans le chapitre 9, on a vu ce verset. Ça signifie approcher un maître spirituel de façon humble et le servir. Et ainsi, il peut nous donner la connaissance.
Like in school, we need a maths teacher, English teacher, etc., French teacher, whatever. In spiritual life, we all require teachers also.
Quand on veut apprendre quoi que ce soit, il faut un professeur dans la vie matérielle, mais c'est pareil pour la vie spirituelle. La pureté, la constance, la maîtrise de soi, le renoncement aux objets du plaisir des sens, l'affranchissement du faux ego, la perception que naissance, maladie, vieillesse et mort sont des maux funestes, le détachement, l'émancipation des liens familiaux, femmes, enfants, foyer et tout ce qui s'y attache. L'équanimité en toute situation, agréable ou pénible. La dévotion pure et assidue relève de la connaissance, laquelle implique aussi l'aspiration à vivre en un lieu solitaire.
Don't get in our way, they in fact give us lots and lots of peacefulness. Cows and the trees and the forest and the animals, they give us lots of peacefulness, isn't it? But if you go to the city with tons of masses of people, we go to Harinam on Saturdays and tours, and yeah, it's a bit of a different awakening, different environment. You go in from mode of goodness, you go into mode of passion and ignorance. You can see it, you can actually feel it. Now that having experienced these modes, you can actually feel them. We will discuss about them.
On peut voir la différence de vivre dans une ville ou dans un endroit dans la nature. Ça nous affecte différemment. Le désintérêt des fréquentations profanes, la reconnaissance de l'importance de la réalisation spirituelle et la quête philosophique de la vérité absolue. Tel est, je le déclare, le savoir et l'ignorance, tout ce qui s'en écarte.
Though they might come in handy when you're counting whatever, so your amount of rasagullas you're having in your mouth and amount of sweets you're having, but the point that he's trying to make is that once you know this knowledge and how to apply it,
Krishna essaie de dire, une fois que vous connaissez cette connaissance et que vous l'appliquez dans votre vie, vous n'avez plus besoin d'autres connaissances.
I have a small question.
Sure.
It's okay.
Of course.
You said we can realize things by experience more than just knowing by the mind. But For me, in the material world, it's easy when you have experience of something, you
Sure.
taste the strawberry, you know the taste of the strawberry.
Mhm.
But what about the spiritual experience? It's very difficult for me to know was it a spiritual experience or not that I made.
Okay,
Or
very good question.
I really am not sure if I have ever made a spiritual experience.
Okay, very good question. So you see, previously we talked about, in the session, we talked about three aspects: the intelligent portion, the emotional portion.
Question par rapport à qu'est-ce que l'expérience spirituelle. Je comprends qu'est-ce qu'une expérience matérielle, je mange une fraise, ok, je comprends.
Below IQ is also something called
La
emotional
réponse de
portion.
Sankirtan
How
Priya, c'est pas une question.
emotionally connected we are.
On avait parlé de différents types d'intelligence, le quotient intellectuel, le quotient émotionnel et le quotient spirituel.
IQ and EQ. IQ is generally with the mind
Le
is.
quotient intellectuel, c'est plutôt là où est-ce que le
EQ
mental.
is a combination of the heart and the mind.
Le quotient émotionnel, c'est une combinaison
heart, the soul and the supersoul.
du cœur et du mental. Alors que le quotient spirituel, c'est plutôt une combinaison du cœur, de l'âme et de l'âme suprême.
That's when you are recognizing yourself as the soul and trying to connect the soul with the super soul.
C'est quand on essaye de connecter, on comprend qu'on est l'âme suprême et que on essaie de se connecter. Quand on sait qu'on est l'âme individuelle, et qu'on essaie de se connecter avec l'âme suprême. Et à ce moment-là, quand vous faites cet effort d'aller dans le Seigneur, on commence à avoir une expérience spéciale d'un bonheur différent.
Some blushing, whatever it might be, those feelings are actually emotional feelings when you're doing certain spiritual activities, like chanting, reading, singing, kirtan, meditating on your connection with the Lord, things like that. Especially when chanting, when you're actually deeply chanting, hearing
Spécialement
some
quand
vibration,
on chante,
praying intently to say, please make a connection with me, I'm trying to
chante le
serve
Saint
you,
Nom.
I'm trying
Si
to
vous voulez
please you in
vraiment
that way. Please make a connection
faire une
with me.
expérience, chanter le Saint Nom
Invariably what happens is that there is that
et vraiment
link.
méditer sur
That
le Saint
link
Nom,
is when
soyez attentifs,
the body is making
faites cette
connection
connexion.
with the soul, and then that's turning towards the super soul. That's when these experiences happen.
Et là, une expérience va se passer.
So humility is the foundation.
Donc
of
l'humilité, c'est la
becoming
base pour devenir instruit.
Oftentimes when we're distributing books on the streets, we come across some Indians who say, oh, take the Bhagavad Gita. Oh, we have the Bhagavad Gita.
Des fois, quand on
I'm
distribue des
knowing,
livres
I'm
dans la
knowing
rue,
everything. I'm seeing, I'm reading.
et qu'il y a un Indien et qu'on veut lui donner un Bhagavad Gita, il nous dit « Ah, la Bhagavad Gita, je connais, je connais. »
Boom, the mind says,
Mais
okay,
dès que
you
quelqu'un
know,
dit
let's
« je
just
sais
relax. »,
bah alors il n'y a
But
pas
you're
d'espoir
open enough
d'apprendre.
to say, actually, I don't know.
Mais en fait, si on
Please tell me more.
est honnête
Let
et
me know,
qu'on
I'm
dit
telling you more, because
non, je ne
everyone
sais pas,
has different experiences.
alors on
All of us
ouvre
have
la
different
porte
experiences.
à
Maybe if we have an open mind, maybe
pouvoir
we can learn
apprendre
something from the other person. Simply by listening attentively.
simplement en écoutant attentivement.
That's why we've been giving 2 ears and 1 mouth.
C'est pour ça qu'on nous a
Speaking
donné
less, hearing
deux
more. Twice as much as
oreilles
we
et
speak.
une bouche.
But we actually been given 4 ears.
En fait, on a reçu quatre oreilles.
4 years. We have 4 years. Do we agree? 4 years? How many years do we have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 outer ears and 2 inner ears. Isn't it? We have an outer ear and an inner ear. That's 4 years. We can also hear from the inner ear. We can also hear from the outer ear.
On a quatre oreilles. On a 2 oreilles extérieures et 2 oreilles intérieures. Par exemple, quand on pense, quand on dit quelque chose en murmurant, des choses comme ça, on sait ce qu'on dit. Donc on a 4 oreilles extérieures et intérieures. Et si on l'utilise en proportion de ces 4 oreilles et de une bouche, alors vous allez pouvoir apprendre beaucoup.
question is, without humility, one will never become knowledgeable because if one is not humble, then
Sans
that
humilité,
means one is,
on ne deviendra jamais
when they're not humble, they are the
savant,
opposite of humility.
car si on n'est pas humble, cela signifie que l'on est arrogant, qu'on est fier,
Because they think they know everything. Right? And so,
parce qu'on pense qu'on
we
sait.
won't be able to last in a spiritual life.
Donc on ne va pas pouvoir perdurer dans
Because when we
un
think
chemin
now
spirituel
that means we are associating with the material body,
si on est orgueilleux.
that means we are associating with the material body. So we can't last in a spiritual life if you're proud because we begin to act in an insensitive way towards others.
Parce qu'on commence à agir de manière insensitive envers les autres et envers Krishna.
That's our downfall.
Quand on devient insensitif, alors là c'est le début de notre chute.
Spirituality has all of those qualities which are in the emotional portion and the intelligent portion. So spirituality has all these qualities as we've just seen. And so therefore, when we are being insensitive, it leads to familiarity and inattentiveness.
Et quand on a cette attitude,
Familiarity breeds
cela conduit à la familiarité et à l'inattention.
contempt.
La familiarité fait qu'on n'apprécie plus, on trouve des fautes aux gens.
That becomes, we then say, okay, they're just going on, I'll be inattentive of whatever they're saying, which is familiarity. And then insensitiveness comes in, and then we start fault finding, we start making offenses, all these things. So humility is the foundation.
Donc l'humilité est la fondation.
When we are not humble, we
Quand on
can't
n'est pas
learn.
humble, on ne peut pas apprendre.
We know, I know. As soon as you say I know, or we've been doing like this all the time, there's no point in changing. That's the worst thing you could say.
La pire chose qu'on peut dire c'est « Ah, on a déjà essayé, on a déjà tellement fait, on n'a pas besoin d'apprendre. » Par nature, le mental, il est feignant.
Human beings lazy by nature, as it is said in the traits of human beings. So if we give the opportunity to the mind, it will always take the easier option.
Le mental, il va toujours chercher la façon la plus simple. Ah non, il n'y a pas besoin de faire ça, il n'y a pas besoin d'apprendre, il n'y a pas besoin de faire d'efforts. Je ne peux pas apprendre.
When we can't last, can't learn, and we can't love. And that's the biggest problem. When we can't love,
Et ensuite,
there is no progress in spiritual
on ne peut
life.
pas
Because
aimer.
Spiritual life is all about love.
Sans humilité, on ne peut pas rester dans l'association des gens spirituels et du processus spirituel. On ne peut pas apprendre du processus spirituel, on ne peut
Socrates actually
pas
said,
aimer.
my wisdom is that I know, I don't know.
Socrate a dit,
That's what makes me wise. That
ma
I know
sagesse
that I
est que
don't
je
know.
sais que je ne sais pas, c'est ce qui me rend sage, que je ne sais
And
pas,
so, always
que je
maintain
sais
the mood
que
of
je
a
ne sais
student,
pas.
and
Donc, il faut
naturally
toujours
humility is present
maintenir
with a
l'humeur d'un
learning
étudiant.
attitude. We may be able to last in spiritual life and learn, but still we have not become truly humble, then we will never be able to love. Pride means self-absorption, and if we are self-absorbed, then we cannot be selfless. The essence of love is selflessness.
L'essence de
Love and
l'amour,
humility
c'est
go hand in
l'altruisme.
hand. Therefore, may the
Amour et
heart-crushing wheel
humilité vont de pair.
bring about that humility which gives rise to love. If we crush our ego into this hard crushing wheel, then the love of humility will bring about the love of God and the love of every.
Donc, tout ce qui se passe dans notre vie et qui nous aide
So therefore,
à être
things
humble,
that can be
c'est
counted don't
une
always
bénédiction
count.
pour faire
Things
naître
that can't be counted often
toutes ces
count
qualités
for more.
qui nous mènera à
What
l'amour.
does that mean? So, there is a competency and there is a character. Your
Il y a des
competency,
choses qui
And
peuvent
we have
être
character.
comptées
competence is a skill,
ne
abilities and
comptent pas
information.
toujours.
This is a lesson to be learned
Les choses qui ne
about
peuvent
this
être
section of the
comptées,
Gita, from these
souvent
verses.
comptent plus.
Character is heart, devotion, love, wisdom and vision. Yeah?
Dans les
So
compétences,
information,
Il y a les habilités, l'information, et dans le caractère, il y a le cœur, la dévotion et l'amour, la sagesse et la vision. Il faut un bon caractère pour apprendre quoi que ce soit. Il y a une histoire que Keshava Maharaj il écrit pour illustrer ce point. Deux personnes se présentent à un entretien dans une même entreprise. Ça, c'est une partie importante. Un excellent CV et toutes les compétences requises. Mais en quittant la salle d'entretien, le candidat laisse la porte ouverte. L'autre a peu de compétences, il a moins de compétences, mais un bon caractère. Et en quittant la salle d'entretien, il ferme la porte. Le patron décide d'embaucher la personne qui a du caractère plutôt que des compétences. Car il estime qu'une personne de bon caractère est plus réceptive à l'apprentissage.
But to develop a character of humility, it actually allows you to become a better person, even get a nice job in life. So humility is an amazing trait to have. So it is not that we shouldn't be competent. Yes, we should be competent, but also have the character.
Oui, il ne s'agit pas seulement d'être compétent, mais d'avoir un bon caractère. Et c'est ce dont la Bhagavad Gita elle parle dans ces versets-là. Ensuite, l'âme suprême. Là, on parle de...
Who are we actually supposed to be connecting with through this knowledge? This is now the section.
De la partie Gyeyam.
Yeah, but ultimately the super soul. Yeah, yeah. Devotees, yeah. Okay.
Donc à qui sommes-nous réellement censés nous connecter grâce à cette connaissance? On va voir le verset 16.
Durastam chantike chatat.
Durastam chantike chatat.
Thank you. And somebody else likes to read.
La vérité suprême est présente en chaque être, mobile ou immobile, mais aussi en dehors. Subtile, elle se situe au-delà du pouvoir de perception et d'entendement des sens matériels. Infiniment lointaine, elle est aussi très proche.
Very nice. So you can see the dualities, moving and non-moving, near and far, material senses to see and to know. So many things, concepts are described here again. Again, this is the next part, the fourth part of the explanation of the concept that
ici, Krishna explique 4 concepts de Gyeyam, qui signifie que l'objet de la connaissance est de comprendre l'âme suprême Krishna qui est dans notre cœur.
So previously, as you know, we talked about the house, where we had the soul, we had the super soul, and we have the activity, everything, like the 5 topics of the Gita. Here, we're talking about more around the individual parts. Yeah? Remember this creation diagram that we went through in chapter 10?
Vous vous rappelez
You've seen this also before? Yeah. Wonderful. So
de ce diagramme de la création du monde matériel et du monde spirituel, de la cosmologie.
Here's Krishna in the spiritual world.
Donc là, il y a Krishna tout en haut. Donc Krishna est dans le monde spirituel. Et quand Krishna veut créer le monde matériel, il s'expand en tant que Mahavishnu. C'est Krishna au travail.
Krishna is only in Goloka Vrindavan, that is spiritual.
Yes. You can see him here. Here they are. The lotus flower. He expands as Mahavishnu and thus Krishna at work. This is at home. This is at work. He himself doesn't do the work. Because he's too busy playing the flute.
Krishna lui-même, il ne fait pas le travail. Il est trop occupé à s'amuser avec les vaches, à jouer de la flûte, à voler le beurre, à tirer à embêter les gopis, danser avec les gopis, et jouer avec Balaram et tous les gopas, et avec les Yashoda. Tellement de divertissements. Il joue à la maison. Quand il travaille, Ses expansions et ses travail.
And so, once Mahavishnu has produced all the universes, as you can see, these are all the universes here, or Vaikuntha.
Là, il y a les planètes Vaikuntha.
This is the spiritual world still. This is all the spiritual world.
Tout ça, c'est le monde spirituel.
SW, this is the material world.
Ça, c'est le monde matériel.
MW. This is 3/4 in size. This is a quarter in size. Material world. Once Mahavishnu has produced all the universes, there's another universal expansion.
Une fois que Mahavishnu a produit tous les univers, il existe une autre extension de Vishnu connue sous le nom de Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, dans chaque univers.
Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who is in the
qui est dans chaque univers.
And then there is another expansion called the Shivadakashayi Vishnu.
Et ensuite il y a une expansion de notre Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, qui est l'âme suprême. Il est dans chaque atome et dans le cœur de chaque entité vivante.
Mahavishnu is on the Karanadakashayi Vishnu, is on the Karana ocean, the causal ocean. This is Karanadakashayi Vishnu, which is also Mahavishnu. Dakashayi Vishnu. Yeah. Sorry? Brahmajyoti is a separation between the material and the spiritual world. It's not part of the material world. It's beyond the material world. But it's in between material and the spiritual world. It's like an effulgence of light.
Yeah, well, you need to come back here. This is why I asked you.
From there you can come back here, correct?
Because from the spiritual world you not come back.
No.
From Brahmajyoti you can.
Yes. Yes, you do need to come back here. So Shivadakashayi Vishnu is in every atom and every heart as Paramatma, Super Soul.
So there's 4 Vishnus.
There's 3 Vishnus. I mean, this one's the same. They're just in the work. One, he lies down on the current ocean. Yeah? That's basically 1, 2.
Donc là, on parle des 3 Vishnu. On voit un peu ce qu'on a déjà vu. 3 Vishnu qui font la création matérielle. Donc Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu.
The way that is explained, this is Vishnu, is that there is a general function that he has and a specific function.
Donc il a des fonctions générales et des fonctions spécifiques.
Basically shows us the super soul residing within every living entity who is present in your heart, and we have to realize this as Krishna in a Krishna form, 200 form rather than the 400 form that's shown on here. Yeah? And this is what's described in this chapter. You can look at your heart sometimes and see
Vous pouvez voir votre cœur des fois et voir que Krishna est là. Ça, c'est votre visualisation mentale.
Krishna that you're seeing, which is present in your heart,
Krishna qui est présent dans
is what
votre
Krishna
cœur,
is explaining in this section,
c'est ce que Krishna explique dans cette
whereby
section.
he's saying, this is the super soul that you have to realize.
Et il dit que c'est ça l'âme
If you
suprême
realize
dans
this
le
super
cœur
soul, then you've
que
achieved
vous
the number one
devez réaliser.
realization. Otherwise, you've got the Paramatma realization, which is the four-handed form of Vishnu, which is this Vishnu here. Four-handed form.
Si on est bloqué dans la réalisation Paramatma, du coup c'est la forme à quatre bras. Mais si on va au-delà et on voit Krishna dans le cœur, alors on va au niveau Bhagavan.
Remember, in chapter 2, we talked about the three doers. The super soul is overseer, just like a CCTV. And eternal CCTV, with you at every step of the way.
Donc l'âme suprême, c'est un superviseur, tout comme une vidéosurveillance.
You saw a television program for Big Brother, where there's a CCTV watching everything that's going on like that. And the super soul is also the permitter, just like a call center. Okay, I need this.
Et l'âme suprême, elle est aussi celle qui permet les choses de se passer. Comme un centre d'appel.
Chaque
fois que vous vous tournez vers l'âme suprême pour demander quelque chose, l'âme suprême commence à interagir avec vous et commence à permettre des choses si vous êtes qualifié à recevoir. Dans les fonctions spécifiques, l'âme suprême donne la connaissance, le souvenir et l'oubli.
But probably God doesn't exist, like you saw in his advert on the bus, side of the bus. Krishna will give knowledge for one who turns away from Krishna.
Comme on a vu cet athéiste Richard Dawkins, Krishna donne la connaissance même aux athéistes qui veulent se détourner de lui. Car Krishna, il veut qu'on l'aime, il ne forcera jamais. Et c'est ça sa nature extraordinaire. Il dira même à la fin de la Bhagavad Gita à Arjuna, maintenant je t'ai donné toute la connaissance, maintenant tu fais ce que tu veux, tu fais comme tu veux. Donc on a même besoin de Krishna pour l'oublier. On ne peut rien faire sans l'approbation du Seigneur. Donc on rappelle, il est celui qui surveille, celui qui permet, et il donne la connaissance, le souvenir et l'oubli. On regarde la dernière lettre de l'acronyme, c'est le bénéficiaire. Versets 22 à 23. Au contact de la nature matérielle, l'être distinct connaît divers modes de vie en jouissant des trois gunas. Dès lors, il rencontre plaisir et souffrance dans des formes de vie variées. Mais il y a dans le corps un autre bénéficiaire, lequel transcende la matière. Il s'agit du Seigneur, qu'on nomme l'âme suprême, l'âme possesseur, celui qui tout observe et pour tout donne sa sanction. Donc on vient juste de voir ça. Donc il est celui qui observe et c'est celui qui donne sa sanction pour que les activités se passent. Et à travers le médium de ces énergies, il fait ça, de la nature matérielle.
Which moment? Yeah, he's the super soul. He's always there with us, and he's always the overseer and the permitter. That's his role as a super soul. And to guide us, waiting for us to turn towards him. He just say, "Oh, I'm ready. There you are. I'm ready to now come back because I've been in this material world for way too long, way too many lifetimes." Like that. Yeah. And so the object
Donc l'objet de cette connaissance est l'âme suprême. Savoir que j'ai une relation avec l'âme suprême. C'est notre but suprême. Une fois qu'on connaît l'objet de la connaissance, la prochaine chose c'est de dédier notre vie pour qu'elle soit centrée sur Krishna, pour développer cette relation. Quand on dédie notre vie à ce processus, parce que dans les autres corps, que ce soit les arbres, les animaux, on faisait que des activités centrées sur manger, dormir, se reproduire ou se défendre. Mais si on fait la même chose dans ce corps humain, c'est un gros problème, parce qu'on a une habilité spécifique. Et les animaux, quand ils font leur activité, ils brûlent leur karma. Mais quand nous, on fait les activités comme les animaux, en fait, on accumule du karma. Donc, on perd notre temps en faisant ça, parce que le corps humain n'est pas fait pour ça. Et après, on doit retourner de nouveau dans ces 8 400 000 espèces.
You're twice as tired. For some of you who didn't put your hand up, you're not so tired. So don't worry, you go back as in the 8.4 million species of life. Not really.
If I were really tired of it, I would be back now, you know.
Well, this is why you're here. You have the opportunity. This is why you're here.
Est-ce que vous êtes fatigué de revenir dans les 8 400 000 espèces?
So yeah, here we are. Small description of the spiritual world.
Donc voilà, une petite description du monde spirituel. Krishna dit quand on est dans le monde matériel, quand on est dans le monde matériel, on essaie de profiter de l'énergie spirituelle et on devient malheureux. Dans le monde spirituel, là où Krishna est vie, donc là on voit, il y a Balaram, il y a les vaches, il y a le pan, il y a Yamuna, il y a des arbres.
Balaram as well?
Yeah, look, he's got a white peacock feather.
But normally he's without, no?
I don't think. Sometimes when you are almost same, your mother will dress you the same.
Okay, but not in deity form.
No, sometimes we have Balaram with peacock feather.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Krishna always wears peacock.
Yeah, Krishna always does, but sometimes Balaram also wants to. Why not? Of course he can. He's not different to Krishna.
No, I'm just listening to what other people have told me.
Okay. That's all right.
I've told people before, if you want to know which one's Krishna, it's the one with the peacock feather. So that's incorrect. Not always correct.
It's beautiful. These are the windows into the spiritual world.
Ça, c'est une fenêtre du monde spirituel.
And the cow also has a
And cow also had a peacock feather. If the cow wears peacock feather, why can't Balaram, right?
Now I feel really stupid.
And the peacock also.
And the peacock feather. Now I feel even more stupid.
Anyone else?
We don't see the full picture. That's actually the full picture there. In our classroom, literally. The full picture of the spiritual world is there, including the lotus flowers. Look at that. Beautiful, huh? And so, how many of us would like to go here?
Combien d'entre vous veulent venir ici?
Raise your hand up really high if you want to go there. And stretch really, really high if you want to go there. Because Krishna will just go. And then take you to the television. You're stuck in the television. So, now, I'd like to do something called a thought experiment.
Moi, j'aimerais faire une expérience avec vous.
Are you ready for your thought experiment?
Une expérience de pensée.
This is very, very nice. So this is the picture of the spiritual
Donc
world.
ça, c'est une
And you all
image du
said
monde
you want to go
spirituel.
there.
Et vous avez
So
tous dit
I saw you.
que vous voulez aller au
So
monde
now watch carefully.
spirituel.
Okay, you ready?
Vous êtes prêts?
Lots of squiggles on the wall. Who's been writing on the wall? Gita, right? Okay. So right now we are here in material world.
Donc là, nous sommes là dans le monde
Okay.
matériel.
You see the door on the right.
Vous voyez la porte à droite?
That's the door.
Ça, c'est la porte. C'est la
That's the
porte vers
door
le monde spirituel.
to the spiritual world. Because we saw it was behind the door that Krishna Balaram was there, right? This is the door to the spiritual world. In case you didn't see it, it's here. Because online we sometimes people can't see online, so we draw the picture around it. Because this is the thing. Yeah? And so the question is, you
Alors, voici
see,
la question.
that's the door to the spiritual world. Do you want to walk through it?
Est-ce que vous voulez y aller?
Anybody would want to walk through that door?
Quelqu'un veut traverser cette porte?
So let me give you two questions.
Alors, laissez-moi
Swami says.
vous
There are
donner
two options
il y a deux options
that we're going to give you.
qu'on va
You
vous
have to
donner.
vote for one of the
Il
options.
faut que vous votez pour une des options.
Okay, you ready?
Ok?
Option number one.
L'option numéro 1.
Here I'm saying to you, you can fulfill
Je
all
dis,
your
vous pouvez
aspirations
réaliser
in this life.
toutes vos aspirations dans votre vie.
Everything you want
Tout
to
ce que
do.
vous désirez. Tout ce que vous voulez
Everything you
faire.
want to achieve.
Tout ce que vous voulez
Then at the
accomplir.
end of your
Et
life,
puis à la fin de votre vie,
I'm guaranteeing you
je vous garantis que vous pourrez retourner au monde spirituel.
that's option number
Ça, c'est
one.
l'option numéro
You can
1.
fulfill whatever you want to do,
Vous pouvez
whatever you
réaliser
want to
tout ce que vous
achieve,
voulez faire, tout ce que vous
whatever
voulez
you do,
accomplir.
but at the end, guarantee you're going to go back to the
Mais à la fin, vous
spiritual
allez être garanti de retourner au monde spirituel.
world. Do you even need to hear option two?
No.
Yeah. But okay, option two. Ready?
Et l'option 2,
Go to the spiritual world right now.
aller dans le monde spirituel maintenant.
Right now.
Oh, no, right now.
That means the spiritual world. But
The moment you tap right now, it's
so I don't think we're ready yet.
we entered the door. So
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it was black. Yeah, you entered already. Everybody said, yes, let's go now. That's why you entered. Huh? So, option one, do everything you want to do, and at the end. Or option two, right now, ready, go, let's go. Pack your bags, leave, or pack your bags, come. What's there to pack, right?
No, you don't need
Let's
to.
go.
Yeah.
How many? Option one. So hang on. Shh. Down. Option number one. Hands up.
Difficult.
Hands up.
honestly, if I must be honest, yes.
Yeah, be honest. This is yours from the heart. Option number one. Okay, option number one. Do everything you need to do, achieve whatever you need to achieve, finish off everything in this life. At the end, guarantee, go back. Yeah. Option two. How many? It's interesting, isn't it? Some people are completely and utterly tired of this material world, so much so that just ready to go back. Others, yes, I have family members, I have something to do. I still like this material world to a certain extent, actually. Or could be that I'll come into this Krishna consciousness, I want to take back as many lives and change lives as much as possible, and then at the end, go back. There's no right or wrong answer, it's just your personal disposition. That's what it is.
Also, if I go there, I think I will make some chaos, so I need to be trained a little bit.
Very good. That's a humility, right? That's sensitivity, because you're thinking, I don't want to go up there and start making offenses and I'll come back down.
Yeah.
But remember, it does say when you are there in the spiritual world, then you don't come down. Unless you go into the pastime of the Lord like that. Vijay,
I mean, if you want to go right now, it's an option, but the other option is everything I want to do, and that's self-centered.
yeah.
And
Unless, like I said, unless doing it for
Krishna.
Krishna's perspective. But you want to teach course, or you want to serve Krishna once you're here, you want to train yourself, or you want to do certain things that will please Krishna, even in this world.
So So that depends how you interpret option number one.
It's not about interpretation, it's about your humility actually, about how you are able to serve others, how you're able to interact with others, and so on like that. Interpreting, it's a clear option, right? It's a clear option.
For me, number one was not the option because it's all about me.
Oh, okay, in that sense, because you thought it's just about me. But actually, like Prabhu said, you could. I'm not pure enough now to go. I don't have the adhikar. He's saying. He's thinking, and that's a sign of humility, right? Because I don't know whether I'm qualified to go to the spiritual world yet. You see,
if there was an option number three, you do everything for Krishna.
But you could choose that for either of those options. Right? Option one, you're going back now. Option two, you're going back now. And you're doing everything for
Donc soit
l'option
1 c'était aller dans le monde
spirituel
après avoir rempli tout ce qu'on souhaite faire, et dans l'option numéro 2 c'est aller dans le monde spirituel maintenant.
So it's a nice point, it's a nice both experience. What Keshav Swami says, and when we actually come to the point of option 2,
quand on arrive au point du numéro 2, quand on dit que maintenant je veux y aller maintenant au monde spirituel, si Krishna le veut, ça veut dire qu'on n'a plus de foi dans bénéficier des choses de ce monde. Il n'y a rien dans ce monde pour nous en fait.
Maybe let me see what happens in the end of the world. That's another interpretation of option 1.
Not interpretation.
So if we would give up the attachment to this body, immediately we would leave the body up, right?
I mean, if we are ready to do that, the attachment is such that we are constantly pulled by the three modes of material nature, which is actually the next chapter. 14 and 17 are all about three modes of material nature, which we will cover. So because we are constantly controlled by the three modes, we are often and constantly getting attached back to the body. And that's what the material nature does. It attaches us back to the earth, water, fire, ether, air, and then also the subtle elements of the body. This is the issue. And that's why some people say, I just want to go back, because I know how dangerous the material world can be. And that's yet another angle. Yeah. You see? Yes, you had a point too?
Yeah, I just heard the story. It was in a class a few years ago. It really made me think. It reminded me of this. It was one devotee in ISKCON, maybe in Russia, I don't remember. But I don't know, it was maybe in Russia, but and he was chanting the holy name, and Krishna appeared to him, and he told him, let's go back home, let's go to spiritual world. And he said, the devotees, he thought just one moment, and Krishna disappeared. Just because he was thinking, what I have to do, It was not just, okay, let's go, yes.
He didn't say right away, yes.
Yes.
He took some moment to say
yes.
Can you explain it in French now?
Il chantait le Mahamantra et Krishna il a apparu et il a dit on va au monde spirituel. Et il a hésité une seconde et Krishna il n'était plus là.
Wow.
So it's just a momentary lapse in our concentration because we are in inattentiveness. When we're inattentive and then boop. This is why attentiveness is so powerful. So as Prabhu said, Sankirtan said hesitation. We hesitated just for like a split second and it's gone. But it's like that, right? If even us, when we are in building a relationship, when we are doing some conversation with our best soulmate, and we want to have that conversation, we want them to be attentive to us and us attentive to them, like that. And so if we are inattentive for a moment, then we're not in that union anymore. We are outside of the union. And that's why Krishna and all the practitioners always say, be in the present moment, especially whilst we are chanting. When we're in that connection, that is very in the union, like that. Prabhu, you had it right? You had to raise your hand.
Yeah, it was a similar story. Someone told me like a person was riding on the highway and he saw me at like.
J'ai aussi entendu une histoire similaire.
You can go back to Kodet right now to like.
Quelqu'un qui roulait sur l'autoroute et Dieu lui a parlé, lui a dit tu peux revenir maintenant dans le monde spirituel si tu veux.
By the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Une des roues s'est détachée.
if she decided to go back, then she would have an accident because it's very dangerous and the wheel falls off. She can easily just crash and she would have been wrong, you know. So yeah, that was. She knew it was true, you know.
So literally, without even knowing, she was having this experience of the divine saying to her, let's go, you're ready. But as soon as she hesitated and said something different, then that accident was about to happen with the car wheel rolling down the side. Is that right?
Yeah, so it was just, I guess she had that chance, really, like actually a chance in that moment.
Okay, and what happened? Did she have the accident or?
No, she was just her own wheel was rolling and she was slowly stopping and didn't brake or anything, so and nothing happened, but it could have happened easily, very easily.
Wow. Because the thing is, you could.
This is because if you are afraid to die.
Yeah, because people don't prepare, right? Remember we said in our previous lesson, die before you die.
On a parlé dans une des leçons, il faut mourir avant de mourir. Il faut qu'on apprenne à mourir avant de mourir.
Most world things, adventures you can do in life, and jump out of parachute, climb a mountain, drink to yourself stupor, go and do whatever, I don't know, you know. But it says
vous avez votre liste de tout ce que vous voulez faire avant de mourir. La liste, elle finit jamais.
And then you're ready for death. You don't scare.
Il faut se préparer à la mort.
Because you have understood the original purpose. In that scenario of the car,
she wasn't afraid. She was just like, I want to see how it ends naturally, like, you know. So we was quite detached, but yeah, but still she like to go this journey today naturally, so to say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So she was quite detached. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, option 1, option 2, we've chosen option 2. Well, some half and half like that. So what Krishna is basically saying to Arjuna in this chapter, until and unless we come to the point of realizing.
Ce que Krishna dit fondamentalement à Arjuna dans ce chapitre, c'est à moins que vous n'arrivez au point de réaliser qu'il n'y a pas de bonheur, qu'il n'y a pas de plaisir dans ce monde matériel, et que vous vous consacrez pleinement de manière désintéressée à une relation dynamique d'amour avec lui, vous ne ferez jamais vraiment l'expérience de ce qu'est véritablement l'amour. Parce que dans ce monde matériel, l'amour c'est seulement de la concupiscence. Parce que c'est conditionnel. Alors que l'amour est inconditionnel.
Next part. Okay, so only when we come to the point of full dedication, we can then go back to
donc une fois qu'on a fait ce choix de dédier entièrement à Krishna, on est prêt pour le monde spirituel. Donc là on va voir des types de relations avec Krishna qu'on a dans le monde spirituel. Donc dans le monde spirituel, nous pouvons nous engager avec Krishna de nombreuses et belles relations. Le premier, c'est Kantaras, la neutralité. C'est Dasyaras, en tant que servant. Sakyaras, en tant qu'ami, amitié. Vatsalya Ras ou parental, et Madhurya Ras conjugal. Donc ça, c'est différentes relations qu'on peut développer avec Krishna. C'est des relations qu'on peut développer même ici, dans ce monde maintenant.
and want to understand the parental loving relationship with Krishna like that. Look how baby Krishna is. I want to play with him, I want to serve him, I want to feed him, I want to do different things with him. Hare Krishna, please, come sit.
Vous voulez vous asseoir?
Non, mais c'est
Ok.
traduit, pas traduit.
Moi je traduis, je suis ici.
Yeah,
Oui.
translation is here. So like that, chapter 13 is very, very making us very wise. Oh, sorry, yes.
Là on parle du chapitre 13 de la Bhagavad Gita.
Conjugal love, loving relationship with
Et on a
Krishna,
parlé là
like
des différentes relations qu'on peut avoir avec Krishna.
D'accord.
Or Sakyaras is friendships with all the
Donc, dans la
Gopas and
neutralité,
gopis and
en tant que
friends,
servant,
as
en
well
tant
as
qu'ami, en tant que parent,
relationships like that.
ou les relations conjugales.
Neutrality is serving in peacefulness.
Dans la neutralité, c'est servir
Dasya is also serving,
dans la
serving
paix.
directly, or the gopis directly,
Dasya,
like that.
c'est plutôt dans l'action, on veut servir.
And parental we've discussed. Okay? And so that's the chapter. WISE is the acronym.
Donc ça, c'était le chapitre 13. L'acronyme, c'était WISE, ce qui veut dire sagesse.
S stands for
Et
Super
chaque lettre représente le contenu du chapitre. Qui veut dire, il y avait des questions sages d'Arjuna. Il y avait les... Ici, il y a le livre, vous pouvez voir. Ah, ok. Il y avait les éléments de la connaissance. On a parlé de l'âme et l'âme suprême. Et on a parlé du bénéficiaire suprême. Donc là, c'est la fin du chapitre 13. Et à la fin de chaque chapitre, on a un sutra. Un sutra, une clé pour se rappeler de ce que disait ce chapitre. Ça, c'était le sutra pour le chapitre précédent, le chapitre 12. Donc le monde il nous dit qu'il faut faire des listes de ce qu'on veut faire. Alors que la Bhagavad Gita nous dit qu'il faut être une liste de qui on veut être. Il faut faire une liste de qui on veut être, pas des choses qu'on veut. C'est important d'avoir une liste de ce qu'on veut faire, mais c'est plus important d'une liste de ce qu'on veut devenir, de ce qui on veut être. Donc dans ce chapitre, l'acronyme c'était sagesse. Donc le monde nous dit que Dieu est loin et il est dans le ciel. Mais dans la Bhagavad Gita, il dit que Dieu est proche et il habite notre cœur. Et ça, c'est vraiment une révélation importante.
It's a little bit paradoxal because in the verse he said it's far, far away, and at the same time very near. So I'm a little bit confused.
Because remember he said,
Krishna, il a dit je suis très loin, mais je suis aussi très proche. Et là, Sankirtan Priya Prabhu, il dit oui, il est dans le monde spirituel, il est très très loin, mais à travers ses expansions, il est aussi très très proche, il est en tant que le Paramatma dans notre cœur. Donc il est très loin, mais il est aussi très proche.
The soul can know the body, but the super soul can know all the bodies through the medium of his expansion. So if I literally,
donc l'âme individuelle, elle connaît son propre corps, mais l'âme suprême, elle connaît le corps de tous.
Because the expansion is walking around, you're here in the class listening, the expansion is walking around, and then you know, okay, in that room upstairs in Srila Prabhupada library or Srila Prabhupada Darshan room.
Là, il donne un exemple, il dit si tu pourrais te multiplier, tu pourrais voir tout ce qui se passe dans le château, hein. Tu pourrais aller à différents endroits et en même temps être ici. Donc le Seigneur, il est dans le cœur de tous. Et il peut savoir ce qui se passe en chacun. Ça, c'est la fin du chapitre 13. On a encore 40 minutes. Là, je vous donne une pause de 5 minutes. Revenez à 5h30. Et on va commencer le chapitre 14.
C'est bien, parce que moi je parte à 17h.
We had a nice refreshing break.
Merci d'être
So we
venu.
are continuing now the next part of
On continue pour
the
chapitre
knowledge section,
14.
the Gyan section, which is chapters 14 and 17 together. Because 14 and 17 are chapters that's talking about
Donc là,
three modes of material nature.
C'est le chapitre 14 jusqu'au chapitre 17.
Which was
Et c'est
also
le chapitre qui va parler des trois modes de la nature matérielle.
which was also our topic for discussion in the park section. So we will also cover that today.
Il y a des gens qui avaient déjà des questions là-dessus sur les modes de la nature, donc on va couvrir ces questions-là.
Three modes of material nature.
Trois modes de la nature matérielle.
14 and 17,
They both talk about three modes of material nature.
15 and 16.
We'll cover. Okay, so I'm going to do a little, before we begin, I'm going to do a little psychological experiment.
Avant de commencer, j'ai envie de faire une expérience psychologique avec vous.
Do you want the blue pen
Voulez-vous
or the red pen?
voulez-vous le stylo bleu ou le stylo rouge?
It's a psychological experiment to show us what you would like to choose. So,
C'est une expérience scientifique pour savoir,
difficult question. It's an
pour
easy
savoir ce
question.
que
Just have to
vous
pick
choisirez.
one. Blue pen or the red pen?
That's it.
That's it.
It sounds like you want the blue pill or the red pill.
From the Matrix,
From the
yes.
Matrix.
C'est un peu comme la Matrix, c'est quelle pilule vous voulez,
Okay.
la bleue ou la rouge.
Okay, that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer.
Red.
Red, okay. Alright, so red. How many were blues and how many were reds?
Blue.
So blues, how many blues? Hands up for blues.
Qui veut le bleu?
And how many were red?
Qui veut le rouge?
Okay.
Rouge.
5 and 3. Okay, alright. So, well, actually, I need to do a separate preparation for this. Okay. Okay. We can't quite do this experiment.
En fait, on ne peut pas vraiment faire cette expérience parce qu'il faut que je me prépare avant.
The idea is that, okay, which is the shortest line?
Quelle est la ligne la plus courte?
C is the short line. Everybody says C. How many says, I think it's B.
It's a matter of perspective.
Okay. Yeah. As in,
The shortest line between what and what?
I think it's A, B, C, D. A, C, B. Which one's the shortest line? Vijay says C. I think it's B.
Déjà, il a dit C, mais je pense que c'est
How many
B.
thinks it's B?
Qui dit que c'est B?
Leave my name out of it.
How many thinks it's C?
Qui pense que c'est C?
People are not committing now. They don't know.
C.
Vijay saying C. I'm saying C. I'm saying B.
C.
Somebody's saying A.
Aïe.
Okay. All right. Right answer is C. Okay. Oh. Let me just put my pen in. Okay.
It's just questions.
Okay. So some months have 30 days.
Il y a des mois qui ont 30 jours.
Some months have
Il y
31
a des
days.
mois qui ont 31 jours.
How many months have 28 days?
Combien de mois,
Almost.
combien de mois ont 28 jours?
Sure.
Almost have 29.
All have.
Oui.
Ils ont tous 28 jours.
Ah oui. 4 lits.
Some says 1 month because leap year and that kind of thing.
Yeah, first you think about February and then you go, no, everybody all
Do you believe there is some element of
Est-ce que
conspiracy?
vous croyez qu'il y a des éléments de conspiration et des informations cachées à propos du Covid-19?
How many says no?
Combien? Qui dit oui, qui dit non? Non.
How many don't know?
Combien ne
Those
savent
who
pas?
says don't know. So there is and there isn't, both right. So both answers, we're saying both. Okay? Okay? So the purpose of the experiment was is to understand whether you are influenced
Le propos de cette,
or you're influencer.
de cette expérience, c'est savoir si vous êtes influencé ou si vous êtes influenceur.
Trumped you by saying no, B is the longer line, whereas
C'est pour ça que je vous ai trompé quand j'ai dit que je pense que c'est la ligne B. Mais parce que j'ai mis cette confusion, du coup j'ai influencé. Donc l'idée de cette expérience, ça s'appelle l'expérience de conformité. L'idée ici, c'est que on est influencé dans ce monde. Donc, c'est pour nous faire réfléchir à cette expérience. Est-ce qu'on est influencé ou est-ce qu'on est un influenceur? Généralement, les gens ils succombent à la majorité. Si on aurait bien fait cette expérience, on aurait vu qu'il y aurait une majorité et on veut suivre cette majorité. Parce qu'on ne veut pas avoir l'air stupide.
What happens, we are forced to make a certain decision in a certain way. Like if somebody just picked B, you'll be questioning, why is he picking B? Why clearly C is the shortest line. But sometimes your logic is that maybe I should pick B because maybe that's what everybody is picking.
Par exemple, la réponse C, elle était claire que c'était la ligne la plus courte, mais parce que lui, il est l'autorité et qu'il a dit que c'était il pensait que c'était la B, donc que c'était la C, donc du coup on s'est dit non, attends, il doit y avoir autre chose derrière. On suit en général la majorité pour ne pas être critiqué. C'est pour ça que nos opinions et ce qu'on croit, c'est basé sur notre compagnie, les gens qu'on a en notre compagnie.
And our opinions are based on that association. That's why we always say associate with the right type of people.
C'est pour ça qu'il est dit dans la vie spirituelle, c'est très important de s'associer avec les bons types de personnes. D'avoir une bonne compagnie. Que vous soyez influenceur ou influenceur,
understand what is our course of life. We have to think deeply in our meditation.
Il faut que on arrive à réfléchir combien de fois dans notre vie on a été l'influenceur et combien de fois dans notre vie on a été influencé. Déjà, il pose une question, est-ce que c'est pas quelque chose qui pourrait être un trait de caractère que Sankirtan Priya Prabhu dit, mais ça dépend des circonstances, des fois on est influenceur et des fois on est influencé.
in between. But that's a personal choice, right? Yeah. That you're making a personal choice, you're making a distinction between who to tell and who not to tell. Mm-hmm. Because you know that if you tell certain things to certain people, they'll be able to influence you in a different way. Once you've made a certain decision,
là, il donnait un exemple, Vijay, qui disait que quand je travaillais dans mon espace de travail, je ne parlais jamais des choses privées, des choses de ma vie privée à mon travail. Sankirtan Priya Prabhu dit oui, mais ça c'est un choix que tu as fait. Ça n'a pas trop à voir avec ce chapitre.
Sort of, continuum. We have destiny, which we talked about before. Destiny.
Donc on a la destinée.
Destiny creates karma. Karma is based on Our destiny is based on our karma.
Notre destinée est basée sur notre karma, on en a
We
déjà
also
parlé.
have a degree of free will
On a aussi
to
le
make a
libre
decision,
arbitre
to make a choice,
de prendre
whether
des
to do
choix,
or not to do,
de
whether
faire
to do
ou
the
de
right
ne pas
thing
faire,
or the wrong thing.
faire la bonne
We have
chose,
a
la
choice.
mauvaise chose, on a le choix.
And then the three modes of material nature is a cross between these two things.
Et les modes de la nature matérielle, c'est au milieu.
How much to trap you and how much you're free. There's a continuing between the two. So what happens is that three modes of material nature are like this spectrum which we can exercise, within which we can exercise our free will.
Les trois modes de la nature matérielle sont comme un spectre dans lequel nous pouvons exercer notre libre arbitre ou alors être piégés.
If you're affected by the certain modes of material nature,
Si on est affecté par certains modes de la nature matérielle, on pense qu'on agit en tant que dans notre libre arbitre, mais en réalité on est contrôlé par une influence extérieure.
To the extent which you align yourself with three modes of material nature, then you really are able to use your own intellect and free will to decide what's best for you. So you are within this material nature.
Il faut qu'on soit en mesure d'utiliser notre intellect et notre libre arbitre pour décider ce qui est le mieux pour nous.
So, for example, here is a cigarette packet.
Par exemple, ici c'est un paquet de cigarettes.
Smoking causes stroke and
Fumer
disability.
cause des problèmes de
It has
santé.
this phrase and this horrible picture of somebody dying.
Donc il y a ça et il y a aussi une photo
This is in the
horrible.
UK. This happens in this way. Happens. I think in the States they said they only have a health advisory, whereas everywhere else in the world they have something like this. Now, normally, if you read this and look at that,
Normalement, si vous voyez ça,
let me put it away.
vous ne le prenez pas, vous le jetez, mais parce qu'il y a une addiction,
Straight in there. Opening up,
s'il y a une addiction, hop, directement, on le
full
prend
packet
et
sometimes,
on
or
fume.
a whole packet, 20
Et des
cigarettes,
fois même le paquet entier.
as it says there. Here's another one.
Ici, il y a une autre.
Previously, in the UK, I'm
Pour
sure
toi,
it's
celui-là.
here also,
C'est pour toi celui-là.
in the UK, there's something called the AA, not the rescue automobiles association called the AA in the UK. This is where they come and rescue your car when you're broken down somewhere on the motorway or like that.
Au Royaume-Uni, il y a
Form of AA
quelque chose qui s'appelle le AA.
is Alcoholics Anonymous.
C'est les alcooliques anonymes.
I'm sure they have a French version of that also. Those who are addicted to alcohol, they can go to this group.
Donc ceux qui sont
and they can slowly
addicts à l'alcool
lead them away
peuvent aller dans ce
from
groupe pour être
alcohol.
aidés de quitter l'alcool.
Now, and there's also something called Narcotics Anonymous, which is from narcotics, like drugs.
Il y a aussi la même chose pour d'autres drogues.
And now there's something also called SA,
Et maintenant, il y a ce qu'on appelle SA.
Smartphones Anonymous.
C'est les smartphones anonymes.
It's true, it's actually a real thing that started in America.
C'est
It's
quelque
now
chose de
in
réel hein,
also.
qui existe en Amérique et au Royaume-Uni, parce qu'ils voient que les gens,
Especially children, teenagers,
spécialement
and everyone, like this.
les jeunes,
They're developing cranial issues, they're developing neck issues,
ils
they're
développent
having
même des
migraines,
problèmes
they're having,
physiques à cause de
seizures
leur addiction au
because of
téléphone.
this addiction, like this. They're having hunchback spine issues,
Ils ont des problèmes de
they're
dos.
having back issues because of this. Children are not developing fully because
Les enfants ne se développent pas pleinement parce que normalement ils devraient jouer dehors, mais à cause de cet engin qui est un grand danger de destruction. C'est un véritable problème de nos jours. Là, il y a une autre chose. Vous avez peut-être déjà vu ça.
Everywhere. As soon as you get into a car,
Dès que vous rentrez dans une voiture, vous devenez une autre personne. Dès que vous voyez il y a un camion ou un tracteur qui est devant vous, vous vous énervez. Même ceux qui pratiquent la spiritualité, ça leur arrive.
It is said it's to do with, science tells it's to do with the way speed, fastness has an impact on the brain.
Apparemment, la science, elle dit que c'est par rapport à la vitesse qu'on a à ce moment-là, ça affecte l'intelligence.
So we've looked at this before.
Donc on a vu ça précédemment.
Abhidaya.
Sambandha, Abhideya et Prayojana.
Now we're going to look closely to prayer of Abhidaya, which we did before.
Là, on va voir spécifiquement à Abhideya.
Sambandha means what?
Relation.
What?
I'm going to write it down before. Relationship.
Relationship with Krishna.
And Prayojana means?
That means
No, Prayojana.
Le goal.
Goal.
Prayojana, ça veut dire le but.
Abhidaya is how to get there, practice.
That's the practice.
Donc Sambandha, c'est la relation.
Practice or process.
Abhideya, c'est la pratique. Et Prayojana, c'est le but.
And so, the practice allows us, okay, if you want to join, hang on.
Without Sambandha, you can't have Abhidaya. And through Abhidaya, you can reach Prayojana.
Yeah. So most of us are actually here. We are practicing, right?
Donc la plupart d'entre nous, on est là, on essaye de pratiquer la vie spirituelle. C'est pour ça qu'on est là. On a développé quelques connexions, une certaine relation avec le Seigneur et on essaie de pratiquer.
In that practice, we have something called the process, what you need to do, what we need to do. We have a certain lifestyle, how we live. We wear our bed sheets when we're going out, rather than our
Donc il y a le processus.
putting marks on
Il y a le style de vie.
putting marks on
Le processus, c'est qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire. Le style de vie, c'est comment vivre. Et le caractère, c'est qui on veut devenir.
Previous lecture, about humility, pridelessness, selflessness, etc., etc., etc. To develop.
On vient de voir dans le chapitre précédent les qualités
All these things we saw about road rage, smartphones. Why do we say minimize use of this? Because we want to develop that character, we want to nurture that character.
Pourquoi on dit qu'il faut diminuer, par exemple, les addictions comme le téléphone? C'est parce qu'on veut développer des véritables qualités. Et que c'est une perte de temps. Et après on devient inattentif, ça nous fatigue.
Even the materialists out there use the 5 AM club by starting their day in the quiet of the night. Invariably, you're more successful.
Même les gens à l'extérieur, les matérialistes, s'ils veulent avoir du succès, ils se lèvent tôt le matin.
And so therefore, it's really, really important if you want to advance in spiritual life that it's about what we do, it's about who we are, and
Donc
it's
il est
about how
important,
we live.
si on veut
What we do, who we
avancer
are,
dans la
how
vie
we live.
spirituelle, c'est de savoir
Because these three
qui nous
things
sommes, ce
really explain about
qu'on
our
veut
character.
devenir et comment vivre.
If you want to go towards a spiritual purpose, then we need to know what we are doing, who we are, and how we live. Our lifestyle and how we function in the environment around us is very, very important. That's why we've seen these 5 topics of the Gita before. Identity as the individual
On a déjà vu ça précédemment, que notre identité c'est d'être une âme spirituelle, qu'on est à l'intérieur de la nature matérielle, qu'on a des activités dans ce monde, que le temps gouverne nos activités, la durée de notre vie, et qu'aussi on a une connexion avec Dieu. Ça revoir un peu ce qu'on a vu.
An overview of chapters 14 and 17. That's why this acronym is called TRAP.
L'acronyme, il s'appelle TRAP, ça veut dire piège.
Because the material nature
Parce que la nature matérielle
is a trap.
est
Why
un
is it
piège.
a trap?
Pourquoi c'est un piège?
Because it traps us into influencing us
C'est
into
ça,
doing
ça nous
different
piège,
activities,
de-
either in the mode of goodness,
ça nous influence de faire certaines
or
activités,
mode of ignorance.
soit dans le mode de la vertu, soit dans le mode de la passion, soit dans le mode de
In this
l'ignorance.
section, in these chapters, these two chapters, 14 and 17, we will learn about everything that we do
Dans les
is in
chapitres
these
14
modes.
et 15,
In these modes.
on va voir tout ce qu'on peut faire dans ces modes de la
Whether we
nature.
are doing spiritual activities,
Qu'on fasse des
doing
activités
material
spirituelles ou qu'on fasse des
activities,
activités
they're all in the modes.
matérielles.
So, for example,
Matériel, c'est toujours dans les modes de la nature.
we will do it in either mode of ignorance, passion,
Par
or
exemple,
goodness.
quand on mange,
Whether we are
on peut le faire dans un mode de l'ignorance, de la passion, de l'ignorance.
passion, and
Quand on
goodness.
cuisine, pareil.
Anything that we do,
Tout ce qu'on
anything
fait,
that we do,
toutes
it's
les
either
activités
mode
qu'on
of
fait,
passion, ignorance, or
c'est dans un de ces modes
T
de la
stands
nature.
for the three modes, the explanation of the three
Donc
modes,
la
go
lettre
down,
T,
what we do, the first
elle est
9
pour les
verses
trois
talk
modes
about that
de la nature.
in chapter 14. Then we have race for prominence because the three modes are constantly competing for our
Et
attention,
ensuite, on a la course pour
constantly influencing us.
la
to
course
be
à la
that mode.
prééminence,
So there's a
parce
race.
qu'il y a toujours un combat entre ces trois modes de la nature en nous.
Then what are the actions in the different modes?
Quelles
What
sont les
activities,
actions
actions do we do
dans,
in these different modes?
dans ces trois
We
modes
discussed that.
que l'on
And
fait?
then what is it to have pure life?
Et ensuite, qu'est-ce que c'est d'avoir une vie pure?
Not just goodness, but completely out of the three
Pas
modes.
juste le mode de la nature, mais au-delà des modes de la nature.
Right. So, trap. What is the Sanskrit word for mode? Does anybody know?
Quel est le mot sanskrit pour mode?
Very good. Well
C'est
remembered.
les guna.
From the Veda course.
No, I knew that one.
We covered it in the Veda course. That's how we know it.
I knew it before that as well.
Nice. The guna. What does guna actually mean?
Que signifie
in
guna?
Sanskrit?
Rope.
Rope.
Ça signifie une corde.
And what does rope do?
Que fait une corde?
They bind us.
Elle nous enchaîne, elle nous...
Entangle, bind us. Yeah, the ropes bind
Connect
us.
us.
Binds us. And this is exactly what the three modes are doing.
Elle nous enlace, quoi, elle
If
nous
you
piège.
imagine that each of these three ropes are big, thick ropes.
Donc imagine que chacun des modes sont trois cordes. Et avec ça, il nous enchaîne. Il nous enchaîne dans son matériel.
That's what this material nature is doing.
C'est ce que le mode de cette nature fait.
What Krishna is saying in this beautiful verse 5.
Et Krishna, il nous dit quelque chose dans le
Anybody like to read the Sanskrit?
verset 5.
Krishna Krishnamati, yeah. Wonderful. Nicely recited. Thank you.
La nature matérielle est constituée de trois gunas, la vertu, la passion et l'ignorance.
Nice and loud.
Lorsque l'être vivant éternel entre en contact avec elle, au Arjuna au bras puissant, il en subit le conditionnement.
Yes. When we come in contact, as soon as we come in contact with material nature,
Dès qu'on rentre en contact avec la nature matérielle, automatiquement on devient conditionné, influencé. Notre condition commence à prendre la forme de ces modes de la nature et on agit selon eux.
So, material nature is a cyclical thing.
La nature matérielle est quelque chose de cyclique.
Known as is around us, all around us, material nature.
Tout ce qui est autour de nous, c'est la nature matérielle.
Also, and very important to know, is also within us.
Mais c'est aussi à l'intérieur de nous.
Because what are we made of?
Parce qu'on est fait de quoi?
8 elements,
Notre corps est fait
gross and subtle.
de 5 éléments grossiers et de 3 éléments subtils. Et ils sont faits d'éléments matériels.
Within us and around us. So can you think of some examples of external things that are around us?
Pouvez-vous donner un exemple des choses qui sont autour de nous et qui sont contaminées par les 3 modes de la nature?
Would you say is around us that's tainted by material nature? Now I'll write them down here.
Animals.
Okay, animals outside you. Okay. What else?
Everything.
The environment, yes. The work environment or the environment around us. What else?
Nature.
Foodstuffs, yes. Nature. So nature, environment, same thing. Yeah. What else?
Il y en a qui ont dit la nature, il y en a qui ont dit la nourriture, il y en a qui ont dit
different services.
les animaux.
Some service in the mode of ignorance.
Okay. Okay. So activity. Or activity. Okay. Alright. So here are some foodstuffs, places, times of day, clothes.
La nourriture, des endroits, les moments, quel moment de la journée c'est, les habits.
So when you said animals, I included people in that. Other people's behavior influence us. Sometimes when we associate with people,
le comportement des autres aussi, hein,
behaving that way,
et ça nous affecte.
Or we walk away and we maintain our mode of goodness, or we try and uplift them into the mode of goodness.
Soit on part pour ne pas être affecté, ou alors on essaye de les élever par notre réaction ou par notre...
Les émotions font partie des émotions.
Emotion.
The emotion part we coming to, within us.
Ah, on va en parler, c'est plutôt à l'intérieur de nous.
But within us, our faith can also be in the mode of ignorance, passion.
Donc à l'intérieur de nous aussi, notre foi peut être dans les modes de la nature. Notre détermination. Nos désirs, les choses qu'on veut faire. On peut désirer des choses dans le mode de l'ignorance, de la passion ou de la vertu.
Our faith, yes, our faith can also be our moods and our devotion also.
Et notre dévotion aussi.
Our bhakti also can be.
Notre bhakti aussi peut être affecté. Quand on fait de la bhakti, quand on est feignant, ça c'est dans le mode de l'ignorance. Et les émotions. Donc c'est important de connaître les 3 modes de la nature.
So here's another question. Is it good to be influenced or bad to be influenced?
Est-ce que c'est bien, est-ce que c'est bon ou mauvais d'être influencé?
Depends on what?
Ça dépend de quoi?
Where we headed? Okay, expand on that.
So we are always under the influence, but yeah, we can choose the which influence, and it can elevate us or it can
degrade us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing. Okay. Yes, indeed. So it's natural.
Donc c'est naturel d'être influencé. C'est notre nature. En fait. On est dans le monde matériel, on va être automatiquement influencé. Mais c'est important de savoir par qui ou par quoi on est influencé.
I wanted to say talks in the left.
What talks?
Talks.
Speaking.
Talks, maybe doubts also, but talks.
Yeah, so
talking.
People. Like people, when you talk.
But it's everything.
Yeah. And so it depends on who's influencing us. So yeah.
Donc c'est pas une mauvaise chose d'être influencé, mais ça dépend par qui ou par quoi.
Other people's ideas could be in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. So many things that are like that. That's described in the Bhagavad Gita. So let's look at each of those modes.
Donc on va regarder individuellement chaque mode de la nature.
Goodness, sattva. What are the qualities of sattva?
Quelles sont les qualités de la mode de la vertu?
Something influenced by goodness.
Quelles sont les choses qui sont influencées par le mode de la bonté, de la vertu? La propreté, l'humilité. La joie, la sagesse, l'altruisme, la santé, la compassion.
Compassion, etc. like that. These are the qualities that we can nurture also.
Ça, c'est des qualités qu'on peut apprendre, qu'on peut développer en nous. Quels sont les effets de ce mode de la vertu?
Yes, it raises our consciousness. Yes, it pacifies any situation.
Ça nous pacifie. Par exemple, s'il y a quelque chose qui est dans le mode de la passion et que quelqu'un qui vient qui est dans le mode de la vertu, ça pacifie tout. Ça clarifie et ça illumine. Merci beaucoup de nous avoir rejoints.
And illuminates.
It looks like one of those, you know, the people swimming in.
Jeudi.
You have to go.
So, yeah, I thought you were going to say it's like one of those arrows saying your exits on the right, exits on the left. And this is how you put on the life jacket, you blow on the little thing to fill up with air. No. Pacifies, clarifies, and illuminates. Like that. And goodness, staying in the mode of goodness actually is hard at the beginning.
Au début, c'est dur, au début, d'être dans le mode de la vertu. Et ensuite, c'est que ça, le résultat est toujours bon. Le résultat aussi, il dure longtemps.
In goodness, focus of the person is about quality, about character and about principle.
Dans la bonté, l'accent de la personne est mis sur la qualité, le caractère et les principes. Et ça, c'est être. Et faire des choses et avoir des choses qui viendront naturellement. Mais ils ne font pas tant de soucis.
That's in the mode of goodness. So rather than human having, it's best to be a human doing.
Plutôt que de vouloir des choses, c'est mieux d'être quelque chose. Donc la focalisation de la bonté, c'est d'être. Ça se focaliser sur le jaune symbolise la bonté. Donc on sait qu'il y a les trois couleurs primaires. Et avec ces trois couleurs primaires, on peut créer de façon infinie toutes les couleurs. Donc les trois modes de la nature sont les trois couleurs primaires. Mais on est tous un mix, un mélange de ça. Donc le jaune, il symbolise la bonté. La passion, Raja. Quelles sont les qualités de la passion?
Excitement. Okay. Greed. That's the mode of ignorance. Okay. Actually, no. No, you're right. Greed is there. Greed, anger. Thank you.
Because I agree. It could be ignorance as well.
Because the reason why it's in passion is because
cupidité, la colère, l'ambition et faire des efforts intenses.
Anger, because Kshatriyas require anger, and they're generally in the mode of passion. Kshatriyas. They require anger to be able to support, to be able to secure, to be able to fight, to be able to administer kingdoms. They require anger.
that ambition and intention there, I can see that.
So ambition is also not a bad thing if it's done in the right way. You see, mode of passion, if it's used in the right way, it's actually turns into the mode of goodness quite well. But if it's done in the wrong way, it turns into mode of ignorance. For example, Ravana's anger.
En fait, la passion n'est pas mauvaise en soi, parce on voit qu'il y a l'ambition, mais ça dépend quel est notre but. On a tous de la passion, et il faut l'utiliser pour le bon but, pour la bonne raison.
Whereas ignorance is always wrong. Let's stay away from ignorance.
L'ignorance est toujours mauvais.
Goodness, you always cultivate goodness.
La bonté, on cultive.
Which passion to cultivate and
Et la
how
passion,
to cultivate. There's always a choice. Right? That's how to best cultivate. Effect of that is it provokes, confuses and frustrates.
Les effets, c'est que ça provoque, ça déroute et ça frustre.
In the wrong way. In a provocative way, it confuses sometimes, and it actually leads into frustration.
Yeah, confusion is a important one to the effect of that, I think.
And then it's easy now.
C'est facile maintenant et c'est mauvais plus tard.
So it might be easy thing to do. Okay, let's just get it done.
I have one cigarette now. I'll be able to keep away from it.
But then it never works like that because of the greed, and you continuously smoking. It might be easy now to get rid of that anxiety, but if you persevere in the mode of goodness and went to the Smokers Association and actually got over the smoking, that would be hard in the beginning to do, but in the long run, much easier to actually live for your life, for a healthy life. So that's why it's all about doing. Here, let's just do it.
La passion, c'est vraiment focalisé sur faire des choses.
Balaram, in the previous age, was Lakshman.
Balaram, dans l'âge précédent, il était Lakshman, le frère de Ram.
Oftentimes in the mode of passion, because he was also get angry quite quickly. He always wants to do things. Whereas Ram would always pull him back and say, "Let's think about the consequences."
Il était beaucoup d'en faire, d'en servir.
Think about the other person.
Il était très passionné.
And then ignorance, tamas, is signified by the blue color.
Et ensuite, l'ignorance, tamas, est par la couleur bleue. Mais Krishna est bleu. Est-ce que Krishna peut être dans le mode de l'ignorance? Krishna, il peut prendre n'importe quelle couleur.
Because he will do it in a positive way. Qualities of ignorance is sleep.
Les qualités de l'ignorance sont le sommeil, le délire, l'indifférence.
I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care. That happens. Let it happen. I don't care. Apathy,
l'apathie,
idleness,
l'oisiveté
laziness.
Et la paresse.
This is really sign of ignorance. So we should completely stay away from it.
Ça, c'est vraiment le mode de l'ignorance. Il faut vraiment pas rester là-dedans. Les effets, ça obscurcit, ça nous entrave et ça nous stagne. Ça stagne notre progression. Et c'est mauvais maintenant et c'est mauvais plus tard. Fuyez ce mode de ce mode.
In the Gita, with a long list, like similarly we have in goodness, we have humility, all these things. No, ignorance also has some bad things like that.
Yeah, but we still need to sleep.
Eh?
We still need to sleep.
We still need to sleep, but sleeping in the right quantity based on your bodily constitution. Prabhupada says 6 to 8 hours. Those who have trained their mind, they can sleep for 6 hours. I used to sleep for 8 hours before I came to Krishna consciousness. And slowly, by 15 minutes, now I can get away with 5.5, 6 hours max. Sometimes 5 hours. Sometimes my body says, enough rest, and just wake me up naturally. And I wake up and chant or read. Like that.
Bien sûr, il faut dormir, mais il faut dormir selon son besoin.
I'll eat something. And when I'm awake, I'll go into some activity. Keeping it very simple. But very nice. In this mode, all you want to do is have.
Dans ce mode, tout ce qu'on veut, c'est avoir, accumuler.
This is a big problem. Big problem.
To have and do nothing.
To have and do nothing. Literally. And this is why, just like as we said before, you see here is that 3 colors on the TV, yellow, red and blue, then it creates unlimited other colors. If you think about it, the world is like a TV screen, like this TV screen.
Dans le monde, c'est un peu
If you
comme
go close to the screen, you can see the individual pixels of the primary colors, red, yellow and blue.
c'est un peu comme une télé.
All the pictures we see are made from this combination of colors.
Une télé, c'est fait de différents pixels qui ont ces 3 couleurs. Et après, ça crée une image. De la même façon, tout dans ce monde est une combinaison des modes de la nature.
For example, ignorance, passion, and goodness. So everything is listed here on the left. Is everything okay? So, sleep in the mode of ignorance is
Donc,
excessive.
dormir dans le mode de l'ignorance, c'est excessif.
Early to bed,
Ou alors, on se couche tard. Dans la passion, c'est pas réglementé et c'est trop peu. Et dans la vertu, c'est réglementé et on se lève très tôt. La parentalité, dans le mode de l'ignorance, c'est négligence et inattentive. Et ça, c'est pareil quand on veut aider les dévots, si on est négligent, inattentif, c'est dans le mode de l'ignorance. Dans le mode de la passion, on coerce, on essaye de manipuler sur comment on veut qu'il fasse. Être un manipulateur. Ou alors on met des coups de pression. Dans la bonté, c'est par amour, on met une discipline et on inspire. Quand on conduit, on est dans le mode de l'ignorance, c'est distrait et dangereux. Dans la passion, on enfreint les règles et on est aussi dangereux. Et dans la bonté, on est prévenant. La discussion, c'est gagner même si c'est mentir, ça c'est le mode de l'ignorance. Le mode de la passion, c'est être entendu, crier un peu plus fort, établir un point. On veut vraiment dire notre point de vue. Et dans le mode de la bonté, dans une discussion, c'est pour trouver la vérité, qu'est-ce qui est vrai, et aussi de découvrir, de résoudre un problème.
So that if the other person is in the mode of goodness, but we are in the mode of passion, then our understanding will be using flowery words to make them understand, and they'll be like, make it simpler for me, please. Even the words, the body language, everything will be different. The person with the body language of ignorance or will be different to the passion and goodness and so on. How's the environment?
L'environnement de la maison, dans le mode de l'ignorance, c'est désorganisé, impur, non organisé. Dans la passion, c'est bruyant et encombré. Dans la bonté, c'est frais et énergisant. Dans le service de dévotion, le mode de l'ignorance, c'est insensible et envieux. Dans la passion, on cherche la renommée, le respect, c'est axé sur les résultats. Dans la bonté, c'est purifiant, c'est la purification, et on fait par devoir.
Exactly, this is the point about more the passion. Because if we are only focusing ourselves on results, because remember we say we just do the service, let the result be whatever Krishna wants. That doesn't mean we're neglectful of doing our best, we do our best, and then we leave the result to Krishna.
Just another brief question on this. When you send out the PDFs, will this be filled in or will it be empty?
Be filled in, of course.
No, sometimes
So,
I expected it to be.
So what happens here, I want to also mention to you, also our time, our day, is also split up into 3 modes.
Aussi, la journée est divisée par les 3 modes de la nature. On a 24 heures dans la journée. 8, 8 et 8.
The first 8 hours between 12 a.m.
Entre minuit et 8 heures.
12 a.m., 12 midnight to 8 a.m. is the mode of goodness.
C'est le mode de la vertu.
Between 8 a.m.
Entre 8 heures et 16 heures,
is mode of passion.
c'est le mode de la passion.
12 a.m. to 8 a.m. Sorry, thank you. And then from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Et ensuite, de 16h à minuit, c'est
4
l'ignorance.
p.m. to 12 a.m. is mode of ignorance. That's why even if you look at the way people behave, between 12 a.m. and 8 a.m. it's generally the mode of goodness. But then as they're working through the day, going through the days, it's very much activity, working, and then all the nasty activities happen in the dark hours.
Que vraiment ces périodes de la journée sont différentes, l'énergie est différente là. On peut vraiment voir que l'atmosphère est différente.
Sleeping time. Sleep is in the mode of ignorance. But sometimes you can have good dreams also. That's why we read nice things before going to bed. Keep away from the technology completely, at least an hour, hour and a half before going to bed. Why? Because blue screen, other thoughts that comes in, impressions, they all play a part in our resting time. If you want to take rest at the right time, 8:30 in the evening, read something nice, pleasant, and then take rest. Shower before going to bed. Vaishnavas shower at least 3 times. First thing in the morning, middle of the day, once in the evening, 3 times. Okay, so we'll stop here because the next section is the next section. So
la prochaine fois, on va parler d'un autre sujet. On va continuer là.